Okay, we've just about reached the end of this section, and what we're going to do now is reseed some data into our database. And what we'll do, I'll just close up these open tabs. And what we want to do is open our seed.cs class for this. Now, I do have a snippet for this because what we're going to do is overwrite this entire class. And I have some seed data that's also going to include attendees with our activities, and this will help us out when we're looking at our client application, because we will then have some activities that also have attendees that we can work with. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to highlight all of this code and just delete the whole thing. And what we want to use is s_14.10.1. And this is going to seed data with attendees. So I'm just going to use this particular snippet. And there's one thing just to double check inside here, and that's the password is the same that we've been using so far, $PA$W0RD. The VS Code snippets have an issue with dollars because these are also used for variables. So inside the snippet file itself, I've had to use $3 for the password, which outputs the password as $2 inside the password itself. So please just double check on this, because if the password is wrong, then in Postman all of our passwords will be wrong there when we attempt to log in. So please do just double check this is actually the correct password. But what we're doing in here is we're creating some new activities just as before. But in each of these cases we've got an attendee. And for the app user ID for these attendees, what I'm also doing actually, just to make it easier to create their seed data, is they've got very simple IDs of just A, B, and C. Now, our identity user takes a string as its ID, so even though this isn't a GUID, it's not going to complain about using a simple string as the ID as opposed to a GUID. So this will still work, and what we're doing, as I mentioned, is we're seeding all of our activities back in, but this time we're adding attendees to each of these activities as well. So that's what we're doing here, but what we'll need to do is drop our database and then restart it so we seed this data in there. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to open up my terminal window. And what we'll also need to do is stop our server and cd into the reactivities folder. And what I'll do is just say .NET EF database drop. And we need to specify the persistence projects and also the startup project, which is the API, and just press return. And we'll get the warning and we'll say yes, we do want to drop the database. And then what we can do is just cd into our API folder and just do a .NET Watch run so that we not only apply all of our migrations, but we also seed this new data in there as well. And once this is restarted, let's just do a quick check in Postman to make sure that we can get all of our new activities that have attendees. And I'll just log in as Bob and save the token. And that works okay. And if we click on Get the Activities, then we should receive all of our new activities that all have attendees inside them as well. So that works fine as well. Marvelous. And what we want to do, because we've reached the end of this particular section, is also stage and commit our changes into source control as well. And I'm just going to stage all of these changes and say end of section 14, commit them, and then just push them on up to GitHub. And we'll follow this with a short summary of this section.